Your doctor have told you you have insulin resistance, but you don't really know what it is? What's up guys, Dr. Borja Bandera here. This is your medicine, nutrition and exercise channel. In today's video we are gonna explain in plain terms what is insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a pathologic condition associated with a variety of any other conditions like cancer, cardiovascular disease or dementia. So it's a very important condition to attack. But before we attack it, we have to understand what it is and how it's created. Let's start with some numbers. Insulin resistance is very prevalent. Okay, only in the United States 45% of people have insulin resistance. Okay, think about it, almost half of the population of the US population have insulin resistance, some degree of insulin resistance at least. Okay, if we go to the obese population, at least 70% of them are insulin resistant. Okay, if we go further and think about the type 2 diabetes population, okay, type 2 diabetes, we have an 80%, an astounding 80% of people with insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is quite prevalent, but that fact, insulin resistance being so prevalent, doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything. Okay, why insulin resistance is important for your health, for your overall health and for your future health? The main reason is that insulin resistance, we have said before, is closely linked to an ensemble of diseases like cardiovascular disease, cancer like colorectal cancer or endometrium cancer, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, of course obesity, polycystic ovary syndrome, or dementia, for example, dementia, Alzheimer's disease, AD. Okay, so quite daunting, isn't it? But what really happens in your body when you are insulin resistant? We're gonna represent in the whiteboard right now. Okay, we need at least 3 colors, and I need to present you to some participants in this story. The first one is our friend the pancreas. Mr. Pancreas lives inside your abdomen. It's an organ that makes lots of things but lives here inside your abdomen. Okay, the main function we have to bear in mind in this video is that it produces the hormone insulin, represented here with a red dot. Okay, insulin. 3 main functions are the following ones. The first one is keep glucose in a physiologic range. Okay, if glucose is too high, insulin is gonna move it down into the physiologic range, that is more or less 80 to 126 milligrams per deciliters. Okay, of course insulin is not alone in doing that. Other hormones as glucagon, for example, helps insulin to keep glucose stable. Okay, the second function of insulin we are going to talk about is allows cells to use glucose. Okay, if this is a cell with its nucleus and this is a glucose transporter, glucose is going to be blue dot here. Okay, in order to enter the cell and be consumed and be oxidized and be used for the cell, glucose needs insulin to join insulin receptor. Okay, when insulin binds insulin receptor, the glucose transporter opens up and allows glucose to come in and to be oxidized, producing ATP. That is energy, guys, energy, okay? The thing every of us lives by. Other characters in this story are muscle, okay, muscle cells, and liver cells, hepatocytes, and myocytes, okay? We have here the liver, another organ in your abdomen, and every muscle in your body. Okay, those two we are gonna call them a storehouse. Okay, storehouses. Storehouses of what? What is a store inside liver and muscle? Okay, glucose is a store. Glucose, remember, blue dots are molecules. Glucose molecules are stored in liver and in muscle. Okay, forming glycogen. In a metabolically healthy person, glucose is being stored in liver and being released from liver. We store in muscle glucose and we release glucose from muscles in order to use it and produce ATP, so energy. But what happens in the following situation? If we have here a mouth and here a stomach that don't stop eating glucose, you know, carbs, carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates, or sugary things, okay, that doesn't move, that it overfeeds daily, okay, those three conditions. What happens is glucose is digested, carbohydrates are digested and transforms into glucose. Glucose are absorbed into the bloodstream. We have the bloodstream, we have glucose inside, and our glucose levels goes up. We have hyperglycemia, and our pancreas, do you remember pancreas? Our pancreas says, hey, stop glucose, we have to keep you stabilized, we have to keep you in a strict control physiologic range. So it produces insulin. We have here insulin, and insulin, its main purpose is to remove from the bloodstream glucose. So insulin binds to the insulin receptor in liver and in muscle, and glucose goes to the bloodstream, to the muscle, and to the liver cells. We are storing here glucose in the form of glycogen. Okay, liver is full, muscle is full. Until we don't consume this glycogen, it's gonna be there. It doesn't go anywhere, okay? It's gonna be there. So if we don't move and we don't fast, it's gonna be there for years, for months, all your life, okay? But what happens? We have here augmented, for example, a liver cell with its nucleus. Liver cell is full of glucose, as you can see. But this guy here don't stop eating refined sugar, don't stop eating chocolate, don't stop eating sugary drink, don't stop drinking soda, okay? It's awful, it's terrible. So glucose again goes up in bloodstream, and pancreas says, stop, we have to move glucose down. So it produces more insulin. But the problem is here in the cell, the cell cannot uptake more glucose. It's already full of glucose. So what the cell does is, I'm gonna remove my insulin receptors, so insulin cannot bind its receptors, and I don't eat more glucose because I'm tired of glucose, I'm overfed, I'm full of glucose. That is the physiopathologic basis of insulin resistance. This cell, this muscle cell, or this liver cell has become insulin resistant. Resistant to what? Resistant to more glucose, okay? So the answer of the pancreas is, I'm gonna produce more and more insulin you badass cells, and you are gonna uptake the glucose, because I don't want the glucose to be that high in the bloodstream. Okay, so the consequences of that are two. We have first hyperglycemia, and we have two, hyperinsulinemia. Those are the two parts of insulin resistance syndrome: hyperglycemia and hyperinsulinemia. Okay, and that causes cardiovascular disease, cancer, or dementia. What is the solution, guys? Probably you know it, and the solution is right here: lifestyle change. But this will be explained in other video. Okay, guys, we're gonna sum up the main features of this video. A lot of people have been told, okay, you have insulin resistance, but they don't know what insulin resistance is. And insulin resistance is a problem, a medical condition that is related with other conditions that are even more severe, as cardiovascular disease, cancer, dementia, metabolic problems, or liver problems. Actually, insulin resistance is a situation when your cells do not respond to insulin action anymore. Your cells are plenty of glycogen and glucose because you are eating a lot of refined sugars, or basically you are eating too many calories, okay? And your cells have become resistant to insulin action. The answer of your pancreas is produce more insulin, so we have high insulin levels, we have high glucose levels, we have hyperglycemia and hyperinsulinemia that causes lots of problems: vascular damage, cerebral damage, oxidative stress, mitochondrial damage, and several other conditions. What's the best way to avoid or restore insulin sensitivity, that is the opposite of insulin resistance? First of all, have a good night's sleep. Very important. Stress reduction, very important. Some insulin sensitizers as metformin, green tea, or curcumin are interesting as well. Do a lot of exercise, mainly strength exercise, but high intensity interval exercise is good as well. Do some fasting, do some fast period any other time. It's gonna be beneficial for you, okay? You don't have to be eating like a cow every 2 hours. You are not a ruminant, and if you consider it interesting, we're gonna review all these insulin resistant solving features in other video. That's for today. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. See you on next video. Stay healthy and strong.